Hello and welcome to Military Mayday, where we're pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. Well, they've been wanting it. Been wanting it for a while, for years in fact. And it looks like they're going to get it. And what I'm talking about is Syria. They've been wanting it for quite some time. And this is the perfect excuse for them to go right in and take it over. Let's take a little look to where Syria is. Syria's right here. Ukraine's right here. Russia's over here. We get Iraq and Iran. I mean, we basically got Russia. I mean, look at all this. Pakistan's pretty much ours. I don't know about Kazakhstan. They're probably going to be more with Russia. But yeah, it's all coming to head, I think. Let's get into this article. The IRGC media reports a fresh attack on a U.S. base in Deir ez-Zor in Syria on Friday after U.S. warplanes hit two targets in the region belonging to the Revolutionary Guard. Tasnim news agency affiliated with the IRGC reported that midday local time that 6 missiles launched from the vicinity of Abu Kamal in Al-Mayadeen at the U.S. base near the Al-Amar oil fields. If true, this would constitute a quick response by Iranian forces to eliminate U.S. retaliatory attack launched hours earlier at TOW, reportedly an unmanned weapons depot of the Revolutionary Guard near Abu Kamal. Iran's armed proxy forces in Syria and Iraq have launched nearly 20 drone and rocket attacks against U.S. bases in the two countries since October 7th. Hamas terror raid into Israel. President Joe Biden and other U.S. officials had warned of retaliation if Iranian-affiliated forces continued targeting American forces. Iran had not attacked U.S. bases in the region for nearly a year before the October 7th. Tehran was holding secret talks with Washington to free billions of dollars of its frozen funds. The Biden administration agreed to release $8.7 billion blocked in South Korea and Iraq since June in exchange for 5 American hostages held by Iran and reportedly an agreement to de-escalate tensions. However, the Hamas attack on Israel have led to the possibility of a serious conflict in the region. Yeah, I'm guessing that 8-7 was to get him to pull this job. Iran fully backs Hamas and has threatened the United States that if the attack on Gaza does not stop, it can engulf the U.S. interests. Is that all? I thought there's more to this article. I guess not. Okay, we got from 3 different sources that I've seen that U.S. has fired on Syria, on bases, and next is pretty much a full-out invasion. It'll be probably within a couple of weeks, if not sooner. What's this here? U.S. strikes 2 facilities linked to Iranian-backed militias in Syria following a series of attacks on the U.S. forces in the Middle East. This is CNN. And the other one was an English paper, and I can't remember what it was. Now, I'm pretty sure these are all except for this one. I don't think the Iranian IRGC, I doubt they're owned and controlled, but we know what CNN is. Let's see what CNN says. The U.S. carried out airstrikes targeting 2 facilities linked to Iranian-backed militias in eastern Syria on Thursday, according to a statement from the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, following a series of drone and rocket attacks against the U.S. forces in the region. The statement said the facilities had been used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and affiliated groups. The strikes, carried out by a pair of F-16 fighter jets using precision-guided munitions, targeted a weapons and ammunition storage facility in Abu Kamal near the border between Syria and Iraq. Austin described the strikes, which were ordered by President Joe Biden, as narrowly tailored in defense, and emphasized they are separate from the ongoing conflict in Gaza. He directly accused Iran of having a role in the attacks on U.S. forces, saying in the statement, "If Iran wants to hide its hand and deny its role in these attacks against our forces, we will not let them." Austin also promised further strikes if the attacks by Iran's proxies continue. The two facilities targeted by U.S. airstrikes in the eastern Syria had been previously occupied by members of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Okay, so that's not a news thing. Okay, well, Iranian International. Okay, that's what I was looking. Never mind. An affiliated Guard and affiliated militia groups. A senior military official said, but it's still unclear if these strikes resulted in any casualties. "We know that there were people on the target at various points during the day," said the official during a briefing with reporters following the attack. "Again, we know that there were not civilians," the official added. "The people that occupy these locations are Iranian-aligned militia groups as well as IRGC personnel. But it would take more time to establish a more precise figure on how many were killed in the strike, if any," the official said. A senior defense official called Iran the center of gravity for the attacks on the U.S. forces in the region, saying that Iranian fingerprints are all over this. Tehran and Iranian senior leaders are funding, arming, equipping, training, and directing a whole plethora of militia groups across the region, and they have escalated attacks against U.S. forces since October 17th, which is why we took self-defense actions tonight, the official said. Well, why don't we lay out some of that proof? Because I'd like to see some of that proof. The Biden administration has carried out strikes against militias before, but at that time, the enormous tension, the U.S. is looking to send a strong message to Iran and militias not to escalate their attacks and spark a wider conflict in the Middle East. The region is on edge as the Israeli-Hamas war, which was triggered by Hamas' brutal terror attack on the 7th, continues. Earlier Thursday, the U.S. announced it's deploying about 900 troops to the Middle East with the potential for many more. Yeah, plus the 3 or 6,000 they've already sent, plus the carrier groups. I mean, we're setting up. The U.S. has also moved 2 carrier strike groups to the eastern Mediterranean Sea and an amphibious ready group closer to the Israel and the waters of the Middle East. The U.S. strikes follow a growing number of attacks against U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria since October 17th. As of Thursday evening, U.S. forces had come under attack a total of 19 times according to the Pentagon, and 12 separate times in Iraq and 4 separate times in Syria, resulting in 21 U.S. service members suffering injuries. The Pentagon said the injuries were all minor and that the troops have returned to duty. One civilian contractor suffered a fatal heart attack as a result of a false alarm at one of the bases. On Wednesday, Biden issued a strong warning to Iran about its proxies in the U.S. Ayatollah to continue moving against its troops who will respond, and they should be prepared. The last known U.S. strike against Iranian-backed militias in the region occurred in March when a military struck a facility it said was used by a group affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It followed a similar series of drone and rocket attacks against U.S. facilities in the region. Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder said Thursday that the U.S. will always reserve the right to self-defense, and that if the U.S. chooses to retaliate for the drone and rocket attacks, it would be at a time and place of our choosing. I see. In the face of an increased threat of attack, the Defense Department is rushing additional air defense to the Middle East. Those systems include a THAAD battery, which is a medium-range air defense, long-range Patriot batteries, and short-range Avenger air defense systems. The Pentagon declined to say exactly when they would arrive or where they would be stationed. The U.S. is also providing 2 Iron Dome air defense systems to Israel as for its own needs. Really? There's Syria. That's what they want. They've been wanting it for a while. They pretty much run and control Iraq. Iran is something that they want. Turkey, I'm sure they want Turkey, but we got this here. Greece, Romania, Ukraine, they're pretty much all ours. They're our allies. And over here is Russia. Russia. So the ground that we'll have covered once we snake in there and get all that, it'll be soon. But anyway, if you enjoy this information, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm a little tired. I worked 12s tonight, about dead, beat down. But anyway, like and subscribe. Toodaloo.